All right. What's going on, guys? It's kind of been a while since me or Funk or frankly both of us have done this type of video, but we're going to be breaking down um top FanDuel targets to look into for the divisional round for Saturday and Sunday. So, if you watch any of our long form content when we first started doing this, this was kind of like the first thing that we did. Basically, we did this with MLB. We just kind of went through everyone and, guys that we like, guys that are sneaky, not necessarily value, but sneaky guys that aren't getting much ownership and all that. So this is for FanDuel. I am terrible on DraftKings, so forget that. But we're just going to go through the top quarterbacks that Stochastic has projected for us, top running backs, top receivers, top tight ends. Um, We'll just kind of go through the list. I'll give my 2 cents on what I like and then just kind of go from there. So let's just jump into it because this is going to be a bit of a longer video. So it's not like the first look stuff that I usually do. So as we see here, I have this sorted out by quarterbacks. So I have it ranked by the projected fantasy points. And then as we see here, you got the salaries and all that. So obviously I have it written down here as well, but we got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jared Goff, Pat Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Baker. In my opinion, from Baker up is what you should consider. I was trying to find ownerships earlier before I even started recording this, and I did this like hours ago as well. Their ownership thing was a little wacky because, we got games on Saturday and Sunday now, and there's like various amount of slates. So I don't know if that's something that got screwed up on their end as in Stochastic. Um, you know, it happens, but the only ownership that I have at the moment is Lamar Jackson at 37%, which it's crazy, but I understand it. I wish it was a little lower, but um, Josh Allen at 9,400 is egregious against Kansas City's defense. I know it's Josh Allen. I know the Bills and the Chiefs always have decent matchups. So I understand that, but I don't know. I don't really like this spot. If he was a bit cheaper, I would understand. But I mean, we got Pat Mahomes at 77. So actually, you know what? I'm just gonna double check FanDuel on my end just to make sure I'm just not seeing things differently. Hold on. Let me make sure this is the right slate. So this is just Saturday. I I I'm gonna tr I think I'm just gonna play the Saturday and Sunday slate together. Well, let me see. Yeah, no, all this is right. They got Brock Purdy $100 more than Pat Mahomes. That's actually kind of wild to me. So sorry, let me grab this paper. So then we got Jared Goff at 7,600. He's projected for 19 fantasy points. I like this. He's got St. Brown. He's been targeting Reynolds. Tampa's defense is okay, and obviously they looked good against Philly. I think that this is going to be a great matchup. But I mean, you could just go with Mahomes for an extra $100 as well. Um, Obviously he's got Kelsey, Rashid Rice has been like amazing, kind of stepped up in big moments as well. Um, Someone I didn't even write down, but Baker Mayfield at 7,300 looks a little interesting. The reason why I say that is we all know the secondary for the Lions is a bit of an issue. So you can do something where you pair Baker with Mike Evans and do a run back with Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs. You can do something like that if you like. If I had to rank them, I would probably go Lamar, honestly, Baker number two. Lamar, Baker, Lamar, Baker, Goff, Mahomes. I do believe too, I don't really know what the weather situation is. I know the weather situation in Baltimore is not the greatest, so you get the rushing upside from Lamar as well. So that's kind of a good thing. But I know obviously Detroit plays in a dome. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be in San Fran or in Buffalo. I'm assuming Buffalo is going to be cold and snowing. But yeah, that's basically it for quarterbacks. Purdy, I wrote down it's not bad, but I don't know why I'm just not on him as much because, you know, if you end up paying up for Josh Allen, or, you can even just go a little cheaper for Goff or a little cheaper for Baker in a slightly better matchup. The only thing that I believe that Purdy has kind of going for him to an extent is Jair Alexander is doubtful for the Green Bay Packers, so that might help out the receivers too. So I don't mind that play, but for 7,300, you can go to Baker. 77, you can go to Mahomes. 76, you can go for Goff. So that's just my 2 cents, but I know that was a lot to take in, and I felt like I was rambling on a little bit. So on to running backs. We got McCaffrey, White, Jones, Cook, Pacheco, Gibbs, Singletary, Montgomery, and that's basically it. Um, Christian McCaffrey, egregious price tag, but we all know what he's capable of. Oh my God, I can't even speak. Rashid White at 6,700 projected for oh, it dropped a little bit since I took these notes. Projected for 13.78 or 6.8 fantasy points. He can catch the ball. He's good at, you know, catching footballs as well. Definitely some good upside there. I really like him in this spot. Um, I don't even know how Detroit's run defense is, truth be told, but the defense in general just has a lot of problems. So White's a good guy to get to, and especially at 6,700. I understand down here you can get to Singletary at 64, but it's also Baltimore's defense. So then we got Aaron Jones against San Fran's defense at 7,400. I don't like it just because it's San Fran, but who knows? I mean, they kind of shocked Dallas, and I know Dallas, they're supposed to have a great defense and all that crap, but who knows how that game's going to turn out. So I might just stay away from him. The price tag is fair in my opinion, but you know, better matchup with Rashad White at 6,700. I don't know. James Cook against the Chiefs at 6,800, projected for 13. Kind of the same thing as White. I would lean more Rashad White, but I mean, it's not bad. There might be some chances where they run a screenplay against the Chiefs defense, or, he just runs a wheel route and Allen hits him. Um, some honorable mentions I had written down were Pacheco, Gibbs, and Montgomery. Um, there's not much value, so I mean, you can either pay up for McCaffrey or maybe go Pacheco White or Montgomery White. So you're gonna have to find a balance. So figure out what you want. I think the main question you have to do here in this scenario is do you want to pay the premium 10-8 for McCaffrey, and we all know what he can do. If you really want to pay up for that, then you're going to have to go a little cheaper with, you know, maybe Justice Hill. I don't know. It's kind of obviously up to you, but you're going to have to go a little bit cheaper on the quarterback side because you can't pair Allen with McCaffrey. You're going to have no salary left in that scenario. Pacheco, I kind of like. I know Buffalo's had their problems on defense. Um, I don't know much about him in the passing game, but I know he can definitely get there. So, so next step, we're going to go with wide receivers. Got St. Brown, Debo, Mike Evans, Nico Collins, Ayuk, Rice, Diggs, Godwin. Everyone's literally right here. Um, St. Brown, clear cut number one on the slate. Paying that 92, I understand. Playing against Tampa's secondary, who's average at best. Debo at 83, not too shabby. Mike Evans looks good in this spot. Hell, even Chris Godwin looks good in this spot at 6,900. Gets a little different, not too much, but Nico Collins, I understand Baltimore's defense is insane, but I think if Stroud and the Texans have a shot, Nico Collins has to get the ball. I don't like it that much. I probably won't even have one share of Houston, in my opinion, or if anything, it's going to be like Dalton Schultz as a guy for like somewhat of a salary saver. But Ayuk looks okay. Rice is a guy I kind of like because I don't know what it is with Travis Kelce. He just seems like he lost a little step in his game. Um, which we'll get to tight ends a little shortly, but seems like he's lost a step. The Chiefs in general just don't look amazing. I know they just kind of killed the Miami Dolphins, but it was basically Pacheco got a touchdown and then it was a bunch of field goals. I don't remember if anyone else scored that game. I think maybe Rice did. I don't remember, but Rice has been a pretty reliable guy. You can see it in him that he's going to be talented. He's going to be in the league for a while. Kind of hope I just didn't jinx him, but Stefan Diggs is interesting in the spot too. I do believe that since these teams always have great games against each other, that Josh Allen's going to target Diggs a little bit more. The reason why I think that as well is because Gabe Davis already got rolled out and Diggs and I understand he's kind of had a bit of a down year. I think it was like midway through the rest of the season. He hasn't been amazing. In his last game, I think he had like 70 something receiving yards. So I mean, kind of saw like the digs that we all know. Um, I like this spot for him. I don't know if 7,500 is I mean, it's okay, I guess, but the thing that kind of worries me about Zay Flowers is the weather's supposed to be kind of bad, but I don't mind him. I don't know if it's going to be that bad where it turns into it's raining or it's snowing and all that, but the wind gusts are up to like 16 to 18 miles an hour, so that's definitely going to have an effect. Um, just some honorable mentions I wrote down: Jaden Reed, Jameson Williams, Khalil, Shakir. The reason why I wrote down Shakir is he's 5,900. You're gonna need gonna have to find some value. There's no Gabe Davis, so I do think that Diggs is obviously the better option. But you can get to Shakir because I've noticed too that he's been getting the ball a lot the last few weeks. So with Gabe Davis out, that kind of helps his spot. I'm kind of just scrolling through to see if I've missed anyone or if there's any other value here. I mean, guess if you really want to, if you're going to be doing like a Brock Purdy, Debo stack and you need a run back option, you can just pick and choose a random Dobbs, Watson, Wicks. I've hated betting on Green Bay wide receivers because one week it's like Christian Watson gets like all the targets and all the receptions, and the next week it's Wicks. This is a little thinner than I thought, truth be told. I don't know how many snaps Nelson Aguilar gets, but 4,900, I guess. Why do I not see Odell Beckham on here? Am I just blind? There he is. 5,600 is not too bad of a price tag on him, honestly. So I don't really mind Odell either. I didn't write him down, but that's definitely not a bad option to get to as well. So finally, we're going to go to tight ends, and I'm not going to spend too much time on tight ends. So this part finally updated because when I was doing some of this earlier, Mark Andrews was a full participant in practice pretty much this whole week, but then they ruled him out. I can't remember. I think it was a broken ankle. They're probably not gonna, force him, which makes a lot of sense. But Kelsey, Kittle, Laporta, Kincaid, Likely, Schultz, Kate Otten, everyone's here. Kelsey lost a little bit of a pep in his step, but I do think in this scenario, he's gonna get some targets. He's gonna have to make some plays. I don't mind it, but just kind of seeing how this season has turned out for him, you can definitely go a little cheaper. Because if you go cheaper in the tight end spot somewhere, you can pay up for McCaffrey, pay up for St. Brown, pay up in different positions. Kittle, I don't mind against Green Bay. I feel like anytime I play Kittle personally, he just turns into a blocking tight end and doesn't get the ball much, but it kind of seems like recently San Fran has utilized him a little more, so it's not a bad spot. I don't mind it. Laporta, I believe he's not 100% because of that knee issue, but last week he played well. He scored a touchdown. Not a terrible spot. Dalton Kincaid has seemed like that he's taken control, taking more of the snaps from Dawson Knox. I know too, Dawson Knox. He scored last week. I don't know if he's 100% from whatever injury he had, but I do think the best spot here in terms of, this guy's going to be chalk. But 5,500 Isaiah Likely, who's filled in for Mark Andrews, obviously, and has actually been pretty consistent, sort of, I guess. Isaiah Likely at 5,500, kind of like what I was saying earlier, too. You have to pay up for wide receiver and running back. You can definitely go a little cheaper and know that Isaiah Likely is going to get a bunch of snaps and he's going to get some receptions. During the regular season too, he was just balling out for Baltimore. Schultz, I don't like as much just because they're playing Baltimore's defense. Kadon had a crazy game, so I do like Kincaid, Likely, and Cade On in this spot. I'm I kind of like Kraft and Musgrave. The thing is though, is I don't know who's gonna get majority of the snaps between Musgrave and Kraft. Because originally it was gonna be Musgrave, and then he went on IR, and then Kraft took over. So I would try to choose between Kincaid, Likely, or Auden, in my opinion. Whichever one you feel most confident in, and whichever lets you make sure whatever you're happy with in your wide receiver and running back slot, fill it in with one of those three guys. All right, that was a lot of talking. So that'll do it for me. Make sure to check us out on Twitter, HotshotFantasy, and I'll see you guys in the next video.